Normally, a television show dies a very public death. A network broadcasts the early episodes, the audience tuning in is too small to justify the production budget, and executives pull the plug. The failure happens out in the open. But that timeline doesn't apply to a recent drama developed for NBC called Key Witness. The network killed this fully produced series before a single viewer ever saw the pilot. It possessed the exact ingredients networks historically look for to mitigate risk. The project was anchored by Emily Deschanel, an actress arriving with a massive built-in audience from her previous 12-season run on network television. So we have to ask why a major media conglomerate would spend months developing a script, hiring a seasoned crew, and paying top-tier talent, only to completely delete the final product before launch. The quiet burial of this specific production reveals exactly how the modern television business actually operates behind closed doors. To understand how a finished show gets buried, we first have to look at the mechanics of pilot season. Every year, networks order dozens of sample episodes, knowing they only have a handful of open slots on their actual broadcast schedule. Key Witness successfully made it through the expensive production phase, and reports indicate it came very close to securing a full series order. But when NBC executives locked in their final fall lineup, they gave those limited spots to competing projects. Usually, missing that initial cut isn't an immediate death sentence. The producer's next move is to take their completed pilot and shop it around to rival networks or streaming platforms to find a new buyer. That backup plan, however, runs directly into a strict legal wall: cast contracts. When actors film a pilot, they agree to hold their schedules open for a specific window of time while executives make a decision. This creates a rapidly shrinking window. If the producers cannot secure a new network before that contract expiration date hits, the actors legally become free agents. For Key Witness, the clock simply ran out. The producers couldn't close a deal in time, the holds on the cast expired, and the entire production was legally forced to shut down permanently. A lack of creative potential didn't kill the show. The rigid legal logistics of television production dealt the first fatal blow. But that raises an even bigger question. If the pilot was already finished and starred a proven lead, why didn't a single competing service step in and buy it before the deadline? The answer comes down to the immense pressure broadcast networks are facing today. Audiences are rapidly abandoning fixed weekly television schedules in favor of platforms where they can watch content entirely on demand. This migration has forced executives to adopt an entirely new equation for risk. They no longer approve shows based on gut feelings or the presence of a famous actor. Shows are strictly graded on production cost, advertising potential, and alignment with audience trend data. When competing buyers evaluated Key Witness, the projected returns simply fell short of the financial threshold required to justify the acquisition cost. Great casting and sharp writing alone are no longer enough to save a project if the underlying business strategy doesn't align with a network's financial algorithms. There was a historical era where attaching a recognized name to a script practically guaranteed a spot on television. That era is over. The complete erasure of this project isn't an isolated incident. It reflects the new standard operating procedure for a highly volatile entertainment industry. What we actually see on our screens at home represents a tiny fraction of the media produced. Everything else gets caught in an invisible, merciless corporate filter before we even know it exists. And while you occasionally hear stories of a canceled pilot getting leaked or revived years later on a streaming service, there is currently zero indication that this footage will ever see the light of day. This leaves us with a difficult question about the art itself. Once a pilot is fully shot and edited, should a network be obligated to release it online and let the public judge its quality? Or do we have to accept that locking multi-million-dollar creative projects in a corporate vault is simply the cold, unavoidable reality of the modern media business? Let us know where you stand on the fate of unaired television pilots down in the comment section.